tradition is out the window when it comes to me. I want to use this time to say thank you to Raina for marrying me. It takes a strong person. Thank you for the best proposal ever, surprising me on our 3rd anniversary when you knew you were going against my rules. Thank you for knowingly marrying into the Grushel family and becoming a bog. More about that later. Mostly, thank you for making this the best day ever. Mum and Dad, thank you for raising me to be a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. Thank you for your support over the past 27 years. I'm so lucky to have you. Everyone says I'm just like Mum. In fact, Raina sometimes wonders if we're clones. It's a pretty good compliment if you ask me. Thank you for walking the talk and showing us all that you only live once and to jump at opportunities. Although the Sunday roast is now a wee bit further away, we've loved visiting you in Raro and sharing your new life with you. And thank you for accepting Raina into our family so readily, although I'm not sure how I feel about all the inside jokes you guys have without me. Susie, there she is. Thank you for raising an amazing son. I'm so lucky to have joined your family. I appreciate you, Jeremy and Zoe, so much, and thank you for everything over the past few years. I can't wait to spend some more time with you in Westport over the coming years. And Rarotonga, which will be this Christmas, yeah. Billy, my maid of honour. I found out on Pinterest that I was supposed to do a cute "Will you be my maid of honour" package with bubbles and glitter and laughter and tears, but let's be honest, that's not really us. I think it went something like, so obviously you're going to be my maid of honour, and you were like, well, yeah. Thanks for your support over the years and during this long as engagement. Thanks for your amazing baking, including the delicious wedding favours everyone will see on their tables and the 2 wedding cakes we have over the side of them. Thank you also for your backup spreadsheet support, it was well received. Outside of the wedding, thank you for being the sister I never had, and thanks for your ongoing support and inspiration, getting me to step outside my comfort zone. Just glad that sparring hasn't started yet, so there are no bruises on my face tonight. Emma, Zada, you've been there since the very beginning. One of those friends who for the past 25 years I've walked into your kitchen as if it were my own. From pretending we were fraternal twins to practicing our bowling all around Queensgate, to moving to Otago together and living together for 3 years. Thanks for putting up with me even after a few too many Sky Blues and our shared emergency room visits. I'm so grateful that you've flown all the way to be here with me. I just can't imagine this day without you. Steph, we've been friends for 16 years, ever since our first date to Chocolat at Rialto. Thanks for providing me with plenty of shared blonde moments and laughs over the years, and for our great friendship all through St. Orange and into adulthood. It doesn't matter how long it's been between catch-ups, it always feels like no time has passed at all. Lastly, thank you for introducing me to Pinterest, to which we owe so much to this day. Loz, we've only known each other for 5 years or so, but it feels like forever. You've become part of our wee family, and I can't imagine life without you. Thank you for being there for me, Raina and Millie over the past few years. It means more than you know. It wasn't supposed to be funny, Kitty. Thanks to Paul for being our celebrant today and a great friend over the years. He should be over that way somewhere. We feel so privileged to be your first ever wedding as a registered marriage celebrant. Can we just have a round of applause? Thank you to Uncle Don for being our chauffeur and our entertainment. Greatly appreciated. Sorry it took a little bit longer than it was supposed to. Auntie Gabs for the amazing manicures, which you can all see later on today if you'd like. They were great. Sarah for making Zoe's flower girl dress, and doesn't Zoe look amazing tonight? And I've already said it, but thank you Jono for emceeing. Thank you Kelly for your makeup skills. All of our skills have Kelly to thank as well as Mum. She took a huge portion of her time out today to do that for us. So that was great. It took a while to come up with natural faces. And thank you also to Sam, who was Millie's babysitter and brought her along to the photos today. We greatly appreciate looking after Millie this weekend. I also want to thank all of you. Thank you to every one of you for taking the time to be here and celebrate with us. So many of you travelled that if I listed you all, we'd be here for hours, so just know that we appreciate it. A few shout outs for those that have travelled a long, long way. George, who's travelled from France, and Emma from the UK. Also to Connor, Mick, Mitch, Becca, Lockie, Sue, Paul, Erin, Kieran and Kim, who've all come from Australia. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great night. Enjoy the company, the music, the food and the beverages, and just remember that coffee and Panadol can be consumed tomorrow morning. I'd like to make the first toast of the evening to all of you, our guests. Raise a glass to yourselves.
It's wonderful to see so many friends and family here, and we certainly want to thank Raina and Abbey for putting on this wonderful night and allowing us to share it with them. There are some people who couldn't be here with us tonight, and for the second toast of the night, I'd like you to charge your glasses and join me in a toast to absent friends. To absent friends. Those of us that know Abbey reasonably well know that she has quite strong opinions. Yes, this one I'm talking about. And normally gets her way. And therefore it's probably was Raina's fate when they met that day, that evening in the backbencher. And it was only a matter of time once she'd made her mind up that Raina was going to be her future husband. And it wouldn't put me past. I wouldn't put it past her to have booked Brady for this night at about that same time. Eastbourne and St Orans have been a big part of Abbey's life, and it's great to see the strong friendships that were formed in those days in the community and at school coming through with the guests who are here tonight and the ladies who make up the bridal party on Abbey's side. From an Eastbourne front, I still chuckle when I think of Abbey and Emma and Michelina and Sarah going along to ballet practice at the Eastbourne Rugby Club. And poor old Daniel Rance still probably ruining the fact that there were no girls of his age group at that time, and he had to go along to ballet too. Be like Connor doing that, really. Abbey and Raina have also formed some strong friendships in their young national and political environments, and if any of you have any doubts about your intentions in the election later in this year, there's plenty of advice available in the room, including from one MP, our friend Mr Foster Bell. Sure, they're happy to give you some advice. Welcoming Raina into our family now is a tradition that doesn't really seem necessary at all because he's been an integral and welcome part of it for many years now. But there is another family that Raina is about to join as a result of this union. By way of background, Eve is one of 6 sisters and 3 brothers in the family called Grushaw. And 17 years ago, this group that's about to be announced to some of you came forth for the first time at Debbie and Grant's wedding. Some were born into it, and others, like myself, did have some choice in becoming part of this group. Those such as myself are often known to suggest that we knew that we were marrying Mrs. Right, we just didn't realise her first name was Always. This family that Raina is now joining is called Bogs, and Bogs stand for the blokes that are oppressed by Grushaw girls. So I'd ask all of the Bogs to put on their ID badge and proudly present themselves to the room tonight. Raina, you should see this as your new familial support group. You can call on us, any of us, anytime when you need us. Thank you, gents. Now, this group of bogs is an international group now. It's a little bit like Rotary, I suppose. When Sue moved to Australia and started a family over there, we now have the Australian chapter of the bogs. And in the absence of our current patron, Father David Grushaw, a very, very supportive bog, I'd ask Paul O'Connell, the president of the Australian chapter, to present Raina with his bog badge. So on behalf of Eve and I and all of us who are here tonight, I'd just again like to thank Raina and Abbey for including us in this special day. And as is the tradition, I'd ask you to charge your glasses, be upstanding, and to toast the bride and groom. The bride and groom.
Congratulations on your special day. Chris and I are so disappointed not to be here or there due to the state of emergency that has been called in the Port Hills of Christchurch due to the fires. There is no doubt that you will have a wonderful married life together, and we send to you today all of our warmest wishes. Love is the greatest gift when given. It is the highest honour when received. Nuk Karako, Nationalist MP for the Port Hills, and Chris Karako.
And folks, just for a little bit of light entertainment, we've got a little extra on the program this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, can you welcome up Dom?
Hi, Dad. I'm Dom, and I'd like to just congratulate the newly married, and hopefully you have a great life together. Thank you. But if you're looking for like anybody doing serious comedy, like turn away, because this is just jokes, and I wrote them down on my mum's phone, so here we go. Oh. Hold up. Okay, here we go. I would tell you guys a chemistry joke, but I wouldn't get a good reaction. So there was two cows standing in a field. One cow said to the other cow, "Have you heard of mad cow disease?" The second cow said, "Good thing I'm a helicopter." God said to John, "Come forth and receive eternal life." But John came fifth and got a toaster. I can never trust an atom because it literally makes up everything. I went to the bank teller yesterday. Yeah, so I went to the bank and asked the bank teller to check my balance. He pushed me over, but I can't really blame him. So good. I love you, Mum and Dad. So when I was looking for clothes for the wedding, I tried to find a camouflage t-shirt, but I couldn't find one. Don't know why. And for my final joke, yeah. Did you hear about the guy that had the whole left arm cut off? He's all right now. I forgot to say one more joke, but okay. Did you hear about the kidnapping that happened at the school? So good, he's awake now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the unique comedy stylings of Dom. Folks, I'm now going to throw the mic across to the head table here. They're going to pass it down as we go, but we're going to start with the best man this evening, Lyle.
Good evening. There we go. Before I start in on my humiliation of Raina, in my speech. Thank you, Raina. I would like to raise a toast to the bridesmaids. They look wonderful this evening. So to the bridesmaids. Now in life we are told that it's the large, it's the momentous, it's the bombastic things that we should pay attention to. We're told these are the things that truly matter. These are the things that change our lives for the better. But I happen to believe that the very opposite is true. I think it's in the simple, in the seemingly mundane, in the everyday kind of words and actions that makes our lives better. These are the things we should truly pay attention to. And if I should have paid attention when introducing Raina seemingly mundanely to Chris Ockenvold all those years ago, because had I paid attention, I would have seen that this simple introduction would lead Raina to Wellington, to Abbey, and to this evening. And yes, it's because of me. You know, I don't want to boast, but let's be honest. It is because of me that they are here this morning. They are here this evening, and as payment, Raina has promised me, in gratitude, their first child. So sorry about that, Eve. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry about that. Now, if you were to buy me a stiff whiskey, of course, after these wonderful proceedings, I would be very, very happy to tell you of Raina's many failings, particularly as a driver. Abbey agrees. There is truth in what I speak. Now, if you were to have the unfortunate luck of being a passenger in Raina's vehicle at any time, just be aware of your surroundings. Now, if he happens to be driving you in a paddock, near a tree stump, near a curb, near a grassy bank, or even near a large puddle, get out of the vehicle. The fall from the speeding car, I assure you, will be a lot safer for you. Some of you may not know this, but Raina had a very illustrious but very short rugby career. Now, this was ended, unfortunately, by a very young winger who happened to step Raina, and Raina proceeded to stick out a stiff arm with such force that it connected under this poor young winger's chin, and I swear, not a word of a lie, this young winger's ankles seemed to flick up with such force that it reached his earlobes. Not a word of a lie. And also, when we're speaking of Raina's slight failings, we must talk, of course, of his constant and consistent lateness, which he is very famous for. But we've got to hand it to him. At least it's consistent. And of course, finally, in describing Raina's failings, we must, of course, turn to Raina's lack of tidiness. But this has improved vastly since he has been with Abbey. She's giving me the eye. I was trying to be kind. It would always be an adventure going to Raina's flat in Motueka with the boys, to go into his room. It'd be a surprise of what you would find on the floor of his room. Would it be clothes? Yes, of course. Would it be a pot, a pan, maybe even a live animal? So always a surprise and a mystery going into Raina's room in the flat. But instead of Raina's failings, I would prefer to speak about the simple things. The simple thing like listening to my most recent heartbreak or disappointment. The seemingly simple thing of inviting me over for dinner nearly every night during my long and lonely 3-month placement here in Wellington. I'd prefer to speak of the simple things like spending too much time watching old British TV programs, especially Dad's Army, with a lemon, lime and bitters in hand. Now, I know what you're thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Raina and this guy Lyle seem pretty cool. We are pretty cool. But it's these simple things, Raina, and so many more things that you've brought into my life that has made my life better. So I thank you for that. And in closing, Bill Nighy in the wonderful film About Time, his character is giving a speech at a wedding, not unlike this. And in this speech he says, if you are to marry, I would give you one piece of advice. Marry somebody who is kind. And the extraordinary thing is it seems in this day and age to find a truly kind person is a rare thing. But I think you would agree with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that in Raina and Abbey, we find two very kind people with very good hearts. And it's not kindness that's just on the surface. It's kindness that seems to radiate from who they are. They seem to be clothed in kindness. And I would just say to you one little tiny piece of advice from somebody who's been married, of course, a very long time. My advice would be to treasure that kindness in one another, and your lives will be truly great. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask for you to be upstanding, to charge your glasses, and to toast Raina and Abbey.
Hi, so Kevin just wanted to say that they wouldn't be here either without him being the granddad, so. So hi, I am the quiet one of the family. All right, I don't know. Okay, should I just, yeah, oh no, there it goes. Okay, here we go. Hi. So I'm one of the Grushaw girls that is oppressing blokes all the time. You're welcome. And obviously I've known Abbey a very, very long time, being that we're related. So a long time. And we've sort of grown up together and bonded over a few things. Mostly our mutual love of Harry Potter, our extreme board game and charades talent, where we can just look at each other and know what the other one is thinking. And a few other habits that we maybe don't need to go into today. But it's very, very cool to be Abbey's cousin, friend, evil twin, and maid of honour tonight, and sort of talk to you about Abbey and Raina's relationship from my perspective and kind of what I've seen. Oh, the things. I'm not kidding. No, I'm a mover. It's not my fault. So I've been trying to pinpoint, sort of thinking about building up to the wedding, I've been trying to pinpoint when I realised that Raina would sort of be around for a long time rather than just being like, oh, this is this guy Raina. And I'm not sure. So I've been thinking back, I was like, okay, cool. And I don't know if it was when me and Abbey were flatting up in Thorndon at the villa, and Abbey would sneak him into the house because she didn't want him to meet me yet because I was too terrifying. And I think it was sort of a representation of our family. And once you kind of meet one of us, then that's it, you know. There's the pack. And so she sort of hid him from me for a little bit, and I knew. So I thought at that point, okay, this is interesting, it's new, all right. And then sort of not too long after that, Abbey moved to Auckland, and then she goes, oh, this guy's coming to Auckland as well. And I was like, what? Oh, all right. Bit keen. Each to their own, and I thought, okay, maybe Abby's, actually thinks he's all right. I don't know. And then I think I lived with Abbey and Raina for a year after that in an apartment, and so Raina survived a year of living with both me and Abbey, which is essential. Well done. Yeah, and then still wanted to stay with Abbey and stay in the family. And at that point I went, okay, all right, he's here. This is happening. Get the badges ready, guys. And then when I really, really knew that Raina sort of had what it took to kind of become part of our family, and I'm going to say manage, but I kind of just mean like cope with Abbey and the sort of uniqueness of us, was when Abbey sent me a photo of a ring ahead of schedule, ahead of, the obvious set plan that they'd laid out, for their life. And I realised that Raina had actually done the impossible and managed to surprise Abbey, which no one has ever done, because she will do things like go, oh, I think we're going on a trip to the chateau because 6 months ago I saw you looking on that website, and now 2 days ago I saw this happen, so obviously that's the conclusion I've drawn. Oh, I'm right. She's always right. And so the fact that Raina managed to pull off an entire proposal without her knowing, and actually went against her and said, no, I'm doing it earlier than you said so I can surprise you and all that. I went, okay, yeah, he can handle this. He's going to be okay. He'll stick around. Well done. And so in that moment I went, all right, he's part of the furniture now. Cool. And then in any case, in the last sort of 5 years, I think all of us have grown up a bit, and well, a lot. And it's been really lovely for me to see the life that Raina and Abbey have built for themselves together. And I think that the key is suddenly, not overnight, but sort of gradually it changed from being the things that Abbey wanted and the things that Abbey wanted to do with her life. And, there's a list and a spreadsheet and all these things, to, there's a set plan, to the life that Raina and Abbey were building together. And I think for me that's the key thing. It's gone again. The key thing that really stands out about these two as a couple is that they've worked to build this life for themselves. And as an observer, it's pretty cool and kind of inspirational. One of the great things about me and Abbey is that we sort of bounce off each other and take the best. And, for me, I've got this great role model here in this relationship. And, Abbey's learning boxing, so, weighs it up. But I think the other great relationship that should really be pointed out in this speech is that of Eve and Brent, who are phenomenal role models as a relationship. And I think their ability to, stick with everything and kind of be up for an adventure and chase your dreams and, go with the flow and now be Super Cook Island, but also be so warm and so generous all the time is such a great example. And I definitely see some of those qualities when I look at Abbey and Raina and when I think about, what I think is a great relationship and one that's really successful. So, yeah. Raina wouldn't let us have a full Harry Potter wedding. It's our wedding. Raina's just like a guest. I almost snuck it, I wanted to sneak the cake in as like a giant Dumbledore, but I was like, no, it's not my day. But I thought I would end with a quote from Harry Potter, because we've got to get it in there something, and I think it really does sum these two up quite well. when you think about the way that they've sort of grown and supported things like Abbey, supporting Rainer and encouraging him to follow his photography dream and all those sorts of things that they've done together. Differences of habit and language are nothing at all if our aims are identical and our hearts are open. Harry Potter, man. It's deep. So I would like to do a toast also to family, old and new, and friends. So raise your glasses to family and friends.
I was thinking a lot about Rainer and Abbey in the last few weeks. Well, just because it's been getting a lot closer to the wedding and it's kind of a really exciting time. And I was trying to figure out, when did I first meet Rainer? I really struggled to remember a time when he was not around. And I looked at him and I thought, no, he's basically furniture. We briefly studied together, which was fine for the most part. But trying to find the kitchen was a tricky thing. It was not normally in the kitchen. We've not always seen eye to eye on a lot of, anything. Even wearing blue has been a struggle, but fortunately we've got red wine. All right. Tough crowd. All right. I know. It's all right. But the reality is that friendship is beyond opinions and points of view. And I really value our friendship. It's a strange one in its own way because of the way that we don't agree on much. But we do agree on the board games. We agree on board games. There we go. We found one. I've been told that a speech should only be as long as it should not take any longer than the groom takes to make love. So I am done. You look a little bit worried. You look worried. All right, I am done. Raise your glasses to the bride and the groom.
Abbey and I have been through a lot together. Our friendship started at toddlerhood in Eastbourne, then on to kindy together at East Harbour, then on to different primary schools. But we came together where, you may not believe this, but rugby actually brought us back together, where we both reconnected over a moment of insanity where we decided to sign up for girls' rugby. We somehow never actually played, so probably best for both of us. Then we went to high school, where we started off going to school dances, covered in glitter and carrying wands. Abbey and I tried to make wands a new trend instead of crowns. That didn't happen. Then after later years of going to high school, going to parties, having our first sips of alcohol together, we continued to bond over a shared love of a night on 2 packs of G&Ts and a Sky Blue vodka. Then leaving home together and starting at Otago University together. I make no comment on those days, but to say they're thankfully the polar opposite of this classy evening. We lived together in our first 2 years of flatting. It's a miracle that we are alive today, actually. Particularly after an evening in A&E, when we both, on the same night, broke bones and endured sprains. We walked out, one in a cast and one in crutches. We told quite a few people that we got in a fight. I think they believed us. I think they did. And so now becoming into grown-ups, hopefully. And the people that we are today. I've seen every single Abbey that she has been over the years. I've watched her go through highs and lows and evolve into the one-of-a-kind, beautiful person that she is today, and someone who I'm lucky to call one of my best friends for life. What I can truly say of Abbey is that she's never been more of who she truly is than when she's with Rainer. Rainer brings out Abbey's best self,
I think my exact wording recently was that he allowed her to admit when she's wrong. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. It happens sometimes. Yeah, and I'm so happy that they found each other. I'm so honoured to have stood up with you both there today, and I'm sure Rainer knows what he's in for over the many years to come. But all I can say is good luck, and keep taking care of my Abzini.
Hello and welcome everyone. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight, especially those that have come out from Wellington and out of the country. It's really happy to celebrate this occasion tonight, and it's awesome to be able to catch up with everybody here. Abbey, it gives me great pleasure to be able to call you Mrs. McAllister, and it's nice to see you truly happy. Rainer, I do feel somewhat sorry for you. Well, really sorry for you, but then again, you've put up with her stuff long enough that I feel you should know better by now, and you know what you're in for. Yeah. So congratulations to you two, and welcome to family, Rainer.
Hi, my name's Steph, and I've known Abbey since the first day of Form 1 at St. Lawrence. We quickly became firm friends, growing up together through our teenage years. As 11-year-olds, we started off with little girl activities, such as being dropped off at the movies by our parents and having sleepovers during the weekends. As we grew up, we began spending weekends at Waikawa, playing on quad bikes and drinking occasional RTD. Occasional. We then began working at Baker's Delight, slicing bread and doing dishes on our Saturday mornings. Leaving school, Abbey moved to Otago. We kept in touch often and shared stories about university life and all the dramas that go alongside. And now, fast forward a few years, I am here, 15 years later, at your wedding as one of your bridesmaids. One of Abbey's finest, and some may say strongest traits, is when Abbey believes that she is right. I know. Abbey doesn't back down easily, if at all. She will stick to her guns and be heard. I have witnessed this at school with teachers, and at 3 a.m. at a petrol station in Timaru, when they didn't honour the Consumers Guarantees Act. Rainer, Abbey has chosen you because she knows you're the perfect person for her. You can be the most assured person in the world because this girl ain't going to settle for anything less than the best. And obviously, she knows that she's right. I've never seen Abbey so happy and settled as she is with you. Congratulations. Now let me be an auntie.
Good evening. My name's Jordan. I'm one of Rainer's friends, apparently. As I stand between you and cake is wonderful, I will be mercifully brief. Harry Truman, who was the President of the United States in the 1940s and 50s, once said, "If you want a friend in politics, get a dog." I don't need a dog because I have Rainer. I first met Rainer at a meeting, depending on who you're talking to, of a community youth group for socially disadvantaged teenagers, otherwise known as the Young Nats. Still signing up members today for some reason. He took us to dinner at the parliamentary dining room, therefore immediately winning my lifelong friendship. They have great roast potatoes if you ever go. When I first met Rainer, he was a very grim and austere fellow, I'm not going to lie. He had a glare that could stop the sun or stun a... There you go. Or stun a grizzly bear. And then he met Abbey, and he somewhat softened by maybe 5 degrees. I'm not sure when they got together because I'm always the last to know, but I believe I was present at the backbencher when we first met because as a Young Nats group, we always used to go and heckle Labour MPs because we were terrible people. Rainer and Abbey are a study in contrast. Rainer is constantly late. Abbey is crisply punctual. That, to put it mildly. I believe it was during the 2011 Wellington Central campaign when they first formally shacked up, or was it earlier than that? I regret to inform you, Paul, that we did not win the seat, but I think something better came out of it. So, a great philosopher once said, "Do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living. And above all, pity those who live without love." That was, of course, Albus Dumbledore. I do not think you two fall into that category. So finally, I would like to say thank you, Raina, for being my friend. Thank you, Abbey, for being my friend. And thank you both for sharing your love with all of us who love you in turn. Thank you.
Abbey and Raina, thank you for an incredibly special day. It feels like it's been a long time coming since Abbey and I went for dinner during Wellington on a Plate. We went to Arizona, it wasn't that good. And she asked me to be a bridesmaid. I essentially screamed the restaurant down. And it was quite cute because the other punters looked on quite curiously and some was smiling because I think they thought she was proposing to me. It's definitely one of my favourite memories since I moved to Antarctica. This was also the night that Raina stories originated. And these stories tend to involve a range of situations that Raina has ended up in. This night in particular, Raina was pulled over by the police after he was spotted driving around in the middle of Wellington winter wearing gloves and his shirt sleeves rolled up. One of my other favourite memories, worth mentioning tonight, is the number of times I've had phone calls or messages from either Abbey or Raina after a house key has mysteriously disappeared or they've managed to lock themselves out of their house again. I've only lived in Wellington for 2 years now, and in that time, you two have been the absolute best friends that I could count on for anything at all. After I left my very safe Auckland nest and my two best friends, Raj and Jake, you guys helped me feel like I belonged in Wellington, even though to this day I still frequently profess to despise it. I do. You helped me through many flat disasters and you gave me a home. You taught me how to be a much better cook, and trust me, they were dealing with someone who could burn flour. And you also helped me settle into this very colourful city. Raina especially, you helped me settle into a very strange, very, very strange workplace. You both taught me that I deserved more from friends and work and helped guide me to be a stronger woman. You both took care of me while I was sick and cheered me up when I missed home. And you both always seemed to know when I need you the most. Through you, I saw what true love looked like, and your gentle prodding in the right direction helped me find true love for myself. I can't tell you where I'd be today if you weren't in my life, but I know for sure that I wouldn't be this happy. So thank you for the absolute honour of being a bridesmaid.
After such a beautiful sentiment like that, the very last thing I want to do is call Lauren a liar, but I, in fact, stand between you and cake. Folks, I hope you've got some absolute gems to take away with you from the speeches that have been. We are, in fact, at the end of the official part of the evening. But before... Oh, that's right. That's right. Give them cake first. How far off are we with the cake, Lucy? That's probably the best question. Have we got time to slot in another speech? Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, you may have noticed that we've left Rainer off the run sheet. I don't think you need to try too hard to work out who created it. Was before and is still, but are married now, Mr. McAllister.
I'd heard the same thing as Luke, so my speech was already quite long. But I've made it. I feel like I have a right of reply to some of these speeches. First of all, my best man Lyle is. I feel like most of my relationships with these guys are defined by the things we disagree on. But I like arguments. Lyle is a preacher. Could you tell? He told me before that his goal with the speech was to figure out how to write a sermon for an atheist. I've kind of approached my driving by going through life telling everyone that comments on it that I'm a really good driver, but I'm just having a bad day, or something like that. So thanks, Lyle, for getting everyone I care about in one room and telling them that that's not really how it works. We'll talk about that later. Also, Lyle, you're right, I had a very short rugby career. I survived one game, which happened after that incident, by the way, and he ducked. Yes, I had a very, very short rugby career, shamefully short, only one game. How many games did you have?
I think it was the same game where I got collected in a ruck in a very embarrassing place.
Right. Good, we got that cleared up. The lateness is probably these two tables didn't realise I had a problem. But the rest, apart from Sandra / the new Nana here, who was also one of my school teachers. What else have I got? Oh, the tidiness thing. Abbey was actually just as bad as me when we met, but this was one of the things that she changed within 2 weeks of us starting to date. One of many. Billy, I just want to say that the nicest compliment I could have ever had is that you see elements of even Brent's marriage in ours. And Loz, just stand by because there will be a bouquet toss. Okay, now I'll start on the long speech. About these four guys, so just bear in mind everything I've written here is I've already written, even if some of it seems like it's in response. So the four guys to my right, Jordan. To paraphrase what you said on Twitter, where else, we've come a long way since we were both members of a youth political organisation whose name has briefly slipped my mind. We've now moved on to much more mature things like having fights on the internet and playing board games. I'm glad one thing hasn't changed and I can still control you with a single glare. I found out the other day that a feature of my personality type is that I spout off half-formed ideas as a part of my own thought process, and I realised that most of the time I do that at you, so thanks. A lot of my best opinions I've come to because you told me I was wrong. George, we probably couldn't be much more different people. Like, look at us for a start. But in most of our interests, our levels of sporting prowess, how much we know about cars, and the fact that I live in the same house as your sister by choice, and you've fled to another continent. But I have really enjoyed getting to know you over the last 5 years. The food, I think we shared that. A few other things. And I just hope that you'll come back to New Zealand for long enough to teach my sons, or my daughters for that matter, how to fix the oil in the car. She changed the oil. Luke, you started out as one of the mysterious and quite possibly mean big kids at school. You went on to become my hero when I realised I wanted to know everything about computers, and you already did. You became a friend, and then I became your flatmate, a period which I think our friendship just barely survived. And now I'm finally proud to call you a distant relative. By marriage. My first distinct memory of you is you trying ever so patiently to teach me how to use 3 fingers on the 4 arrow keys to control cars in Need for Speed. Very important skill, one that I still use today from time to time. But I think you'd still be disappointed in my progress. These words are too small. Luke is, and this applies to both Luke and excuse me. This applies to both Luke and Lyle. They're both the sorts of friends that you can go 2 or 3 years without ever talking to and just see them again and pick right back up. Bring out the board games. Just carry on like nothing ever happened. Lyle and I were the weird kids in our early high school years. But Lyle was the extrovert and had made a few friends more than me, like James somewhere. So when he started talking to me, I was kind of surprised. But my memory is a bit hazy but I think we hit it off pretty quickly and were soon sharing our interests, or at least sharing Lyle's interests. I think the first of the major Lyle Carter obsessions that I jumped on was a Redwall, the series of medieval anthropomorphic children's novels. That was soon followed by Dad's Army, Spooks, and the Canterbury Crusaders. At least Dad's Army and Spooks have a quality that stood the test of time. Yes, I'm a Hurricanes fan now. We still share the Marcos. Lyle and I have always been able to talk, whether it's a theological debate where we still surprisingly find some common ground, or things a bit more deep and meaningful and personal. I've opened up to Lyle more than anyone other than Abbey, I think, in my life, and he's been there for me during both the best and the worst times of my life, even when the worst times were of my own making. He stuck by me. So there's no other choice for my best man, really, and I kind of figured that Lyle knew this. I guess he expected I might have made a new best friend when I moved to Wellington. He was right, but she wasn't much interested in being my best man. We were having dinner with a big group here in Wellington one day, and I turned to someone, I think it was Holly, somewhere, and said, "Meet Lyle, he's going to be my best man." And that's how we found out. So I think, Abbey, you went a little bit overboard with asking Billy. I also want to say a big collective thank you to the bridesmaids. You all look stunning by yourselves. It's just a shame you had to stand next to Abbey, who puts you to shame. Thanks for all your hard work, your planning, and the way you've supported Abbey. I just don't think this wedding could have come together without all those very important Apache dinners. Sorry, Emma. Billy, thanks for your amazing baking today, which we're soon to taste. Getting to keep eating your food is pretty high up on the list of reasons why I thought I should marry Abbey. And Abbey's food is pretty good as well. And Abbey, you look amazing. You always look amazing without even trying, which I only just kind of realised recently. But just to make all you girls jealous, it was like 2 weeks ago I realised that Abbey doesn't really wear makeup ever. And I just thought that she was, like, looked as good as the rest of you. Like, so someone knows what I meant. But today you look particularly amazing, and I'm just really lucky to have you as my bride. I'm even luckier to have had you as my friend for 6 years and my partner for 5. And I'm luckiest of all to have you as my I'm luckiest of all to have you as my wife for at least the next 45 years. That's the Sapphire anniversary, if you're wondering why 45. Abbey chose that. I'm not going to say much about Abbey, partly because she doesn't want me to, but mainly because if I said what I really think, I probably wouldn't get through the speech. But just know that I meant it when I said that today I get to marry the best person in the world. You aren't really the best at sports, and you aren't the best at singing, and there's probably the only thing I can think of that you are definitely the best in the world at is enforcing the Consumer Guarantees Act. But you're the best person for me. You've been the best friend I could have had. You've made me a better person in so many ways. You're the best wife I could ever hope to find. And eventually, don't get any ideas, Eve, you will make the best mother, the best grandmother, and the best person with whom to grow old and grey and boring. And part of the reason I know that is because I've already seen what Abbey's like in a few short years. Sitting at this table over here, Eve. Of course, Abbey is her own person. She would never be anyone else, just like Eve. Eve and Brent have welcomed me into their home since before I ever realised Abbey was running the little scheme that has brought us here today. I had actually specifically thought, oh, this is nice. I've made a good female platonic friend in Wellington. This is great. I just quite recently moved here. It's good to make some new friends. Enough that she invited me to her parents' house for dinner. Completely blind to the significance of Abbey bringing me into her family's home and introducing me on the same day to Brent, Eve, and Harry Potter. I'm not sure which one of these, if it went badly, would have been more of a deal breaker.
Harry Potter,
yeah. Mum, thank you for everything you did for me over the years. I should have thanked you every day for everything you sacrificed and everything you did for me. I'm so lucky to have been raised by someone who cares so much for people. You used to...
I'll just finish on behalf of Raina. You cared in your job, and then you came home and cared for me. You must have just got tired of caring sometimes, but you never let me see. If I can care as much for my children, protect them, and put their needs ahead of mine as much as you did for me, and you are now doing for Zoe, then I will have gone a long way to being a good dad, and I'll be proud to have followed your example.
All right. Jeremy? Mum was never supposed to be alone, and you came along at pretty much just the right time, maybe a couple of years too late. Or I think if you ask Mum, I left a couple of years too early. But thanks for looking after Mum and my sister so well. Zoe, what an amazing pretty flower girl you were. I started asking Mum for a brother or sister about 15 years ago, 20, 25 years ago maybe, quite a while ago. In true Bonda fashion, she was a little bit late. But I finally got my little sister, and I'm so happy. Yeah, thank you so much for being our flower girl and for signing the register for us. You did a great job. And thanks to everyone for being here today. This wonderful day would have been a bit less wonderful if you weren't here to celebrate it with us. The formalities are nearly over. The cake and the dancing is still to come. And we will shortly have our first dance, and Abbey will be tossing her bouquet and all the other things she's been looking forward to so much. It's been a long night already, so if you need some beauty sleep, please feel free to slip away after the first dance. But if you've still got some celebrating to do, please stay with us and celebrate into the night. We have this place until 3 a.m. I don't think we will be here that long, but you're welcome to be. So finally, I would like to raise a toast to some very important people who haven't been toasted tonight. On behalf of Abbey, on behalf of myself and my wife, I would like to raise a toast to Susie, to Jeremy, to Eve, and to Brent.